Now, the peptidoglycan contains teichoic acid. Back we go. These are the teichoic acids here. They're reaching up above the cell wall. And they are made of alcohol and phosphate. Now, alcohol is like sugar in the sense that we use it as a word, but it's actually a class of compounds. As you saw earlier on, there's lots of sugars. There's also lots of alcohols. When you hear the word alcohol, you just think of, drinking alcohol. There's lots of alcohol. So, lots of alcohols and phosphate. So, first off, what's the charge of teichoic acid? It will be negatively charged, exactly. I know I gave it to you in the next line, but still. The negative charge is got phosphate. So right away, negative. Remember, that's why cell membranes are negative. We haven't done it yet, but DNA is negative. They have phosphate. So as soon as you see phosphate, just make the assumption whatever it is negative. So basically, all the bacteria have teichoic, all the gram-positive bacteria have teichoic acid, and they'll have some combination of alcohol and phosphate. The ratios can be different, and the actual type of alcohol can be different. Where I'm going with this is, it's different, the proportions are different for every single bacteria. And what that means is, okay, negatively charged regulates movement of positive ions, cations. But here's the part I want. Provides antigenic specificity. So let's back up for a second. The immune system is extremely specific. I kind of referred to that before when I told you on some other occasion that if you change the antigen, you have to change the antibody. So it's very, very specific. So for every single antigen, the immune system will make a specific antibody. But there's a requirement. The immune system has to know what is the bacteria. It has to identify the bacteria. It has to recognize the bacteria. It can't very well make an antibody for something it doesn't recognize. So teichoic acid is what allows the immune system to identify the bacteria.
So when you say negatively charged, do you mean the gram-positive cell?
Teichoic acid is negatively charged. Teichoic acid is negatively charged because of the phosphate. Rats. So, the teichoic acids identify the bacteria just like our faces identify us. Kind of the same concept. And then the immune system will identify the teichoic acid for each bacteria and make the appropriate antibody. That's what the antigenic specificity is. It's what the immune system uses to identify the bacteria. Once the bacteria is identified, the immune system can make the antibody. Okay. Mycobacteria has got mycolic acid, so an extra thing in the cell wall. So which staining test do we use for mycobacteria? Acid fast, very good, acid fast. So anyhow, all that really is telling you right here is mycobacteria is gram-positive. Okay, the gram-negative bacteria. Well, it's got a lot less peptidoglycan. In fact, it's only 5 to 10%. Now that doesn't mean zero. It's got some peptidoglycan. It's just very little, particularly compared to the gram-positive. This, of course, is the absolute basis of the antibody, the antibiotic thing. The antibiotics work on gram-positive because the gram-positive cells have lots of protein. Remember, the function of antibiotics is to inhibit new protein formation. Well, with cells like this that don't have very many proteins, what do they care? But again, it's not zero, it's just very small.
I had a question about the mycobacteria. You said it's gram positive.
Yeah.
How is it when acid fast staining is for negative or anions? No. Okay.
Acidic stains
Okay.
are negative.
Okay.
But acid fast is different.
Okay.
It's not an acidic stain.
Okay.
And how worded in the book, it kind of seemed that way.
Did it?
Yeah. And then how your notes, made it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
let me wipe that out then.
Yeah.
So the acid fast stain, despite acid and so on, it is not an acidic stain. So it's going to be a basic stain because it is going to stain the cell membrane. So it's got to be positively charged.
Okay.
So again, I can definitely see a confusion, and if the book kind of implies something different, then get away from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So both stains divide them into differential stains, but the acid fast stain is just a particular gram
Acid
positive
fast-
or gram negative.
Yeah, the acid fast stain only will be used for mycobacteria, which are gram positive. But the gram positive, gram negative is not relevant to the acid fast stain. It's just simply going after mycobacteria. And everything else, of course, would be negative in the sense that it's not mycobacteria. Your positive result is not charged, it's just simply, it's a yes, it's mycobacteria. A negative result is no, it's not mycobacteria, it's everything else in the world. So at any rate, so very little peptidoglycan, you saw that picture of the gram-negative cell. There is some there, it's just not much. Now it does have that outer membrane. And again, I repeat, it is a real membrane. Lipid bilayer, phospholipids, and so on and so on. Now the space between the two membranes is called the periplasmic space, or periplasm, either way. But the periplasmic space is simply the space between the two membranes. So what that says is the peptidoglycan is in the periplasmic space. So again, the periplasmic space is between the two membranes, from the top of one membrane to the bottom of the next one. The peptidoglycan is in between. So the peptidoglycan is in the periplasmic space. Now the cell wall does not contain teichoic acid for the gram-negatives. The gram-negatives do not have teichoic acid. Now, we just talked about how teichoic acid helps for antigenic specificity for gram-positives, but not for gram-negatives. Well, think it through. There has to be some mechanism to identify the gram-negative cells. If there weren't any, then the first time any of us would be infected by a gram-negative cell, we'd all be dead, because the immune system would have no way to fight it. So there is a way to identify it. It just isn't teichoic acid. So that'll come up in a couple slides. But no teichoic acid for gram-negatives, only in gram-positive.
Where is the teichoic acid in the gram?
Up here. Oh, wrong one. Up here. Sticking up above the cell wall.
Is it those little blacks?
Yeah, that's them. Alcohol and phosphate. Yeah,
So they don't go through, they just sit on top?
I'm sorry.
They don't go through the peptidoglycan, they just kind of sit on top?
No, they don't really go through, and they'll probably go through a little bit, but not all the way. It's just really on the top and sticking out above.
Where do they attach?
They attach to the peptidoglycan.
Okay.
They attach to the peptidoglycan. You can see it's not going all the way down. It's kind of like it's glued on, bonded.
To the top layer.
Yeah,
Like hair.
kind of like hair. Now, there's not much peptidoglycan here. These guys are more susceptible to rupturing with osmotic pressure. So again, the amount of peptidoglycan increases the resistance to the water coming in and everything. So to put it a little differently, the cells with the most resistance to rupturing would be your gram-positive cells. They have the most peptidoglycan. Second would be the gram-negative cells. They have less peptidoglycan. They will be more likely to rupture than the gram-positives. But third and least resistant is our cells, because we have no peptidoglycan. So our cells rupture the most easily. So gram-positive, the most resistant, gram-negative, a little bit resistant, our cells least resistant to rupturing to the osmotic pressure.
And it's because of the
Peptidoglycan.
If you put like 100% water in your veins, how long would it take?
Oh, you just go buy your burial plot right now. I mean, the question was, if you put water into your veins, how long will you last? Not long. Easy example, if we actually did put blood cells into a beaker of water and looked at it under the microscope, they'd be gone immediately. They'd be gone right away. So if you put water, of course we have lots of blood. If you put water in, they would rupture almost immediately. So you'd be gone very, very fast.
No.
You're all looking at me now with clever ideas. Forget it. I won't drink any water. At any rate, so this outer membrane now, again, it's got the regular phospholipid. It is a real membrane. It's also got other stuff, glycoproteins, but specifically now, lipoproteins and lipopolysaccharides. I'm going to be paying attention to the lipopolysaccharides, LPS, the lipopolysaccharides. The phospholipid is just your regular cell membrane structure. But in this case, it's for the outer membrane.
lipopolysaccharides, you said is what you're going to be focusing on?
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see it in a minute. You'll see it in a minute. So the outer membrane helps to avoid macrophages. The macrophages want to eat the cell, but the cell wall helps to prevent that. But notice that other word there, complement. It sounds like when you pay somebody a compliment, say something nice, but that word is spelled with an I, right there. It's pronounced the same, and I won't get mad at you if you spell it with an I. The complement here is a series of 20 proteins. And I've mentioned to you on some other occasion that the capsule of a bacteria can sometimes help to avoid macrophages. Well, again, the same comment I just had with gram-negative cells. There has to be some way of killing those cells, because otherwise, as soon as we would ever get infected, we would die if we can't kill the cells. So even cells with a capsule, there has to be a way of killing them. So the backup system, the backup plan, is complement. A series of 20 proteins. Now, proteins are big molecules, but no molecule is as big as a cell. So in comparison with bacterial cells and all the rest of it, complement is quite small. So it's like a swarm of mosquitoes. We're all way bigger than mosquitoes. But the mosquitoes come in and bite us and everything and drive us nuts. But macrophages are not able to hang on to the bacterial cell with a capsule. But complement can land on the capsule. It's small enough, it just lands on the capsule, just like the mosquitoes land on us.
You said it's a series of
20 proteins. 20 proteins. And once the complement binds to the capsule, the macrophages can bind to the complement. The complement acts like double-sided tape. The capsule prevents the macrophages from attaching. Too slippery, the bacterial cell will just squirt right away from there. the complement is too big. So again, imagine mosquitoes landing on us. They do it with no problem. We're so big compared to a mosquito. Well, a bacterial cell is really big compared to complement. So a complement can attach to a capsid. Once that happens, the macrophage can then bind to the complement. And in doing that, eats the bacterial cell. So again, compare the complement to double-sided tape. Yeah.
Would the phagocyte also eat the complement?
Oh yes, oh yeah, absolutely, yes. His question was, would the macrophage also eat the complement if it's eating the cell? Yes, it would. So I present that to you just because there are many such backup systems. If something's not working, then something else had better work. And this is an example. Well, going back to the outer membrane cell wall thing, not only do macrophages have trouble with the cell wall, so does complement have trouble with it. The outer membrane also acts as a barrier to penicillin, other antibiotics, and frankly, a whole bunch of stuff. Gram-negative cells in general are just a lot tougher than gram-positives. We can deal with gram-positives fairly easily. Gram-negatives are tougher.
So since it blocks off, like it can block off penicillin, does that mean that penicillin is not the cure for it? It's a different type.
It's not the cure for it, but you already knew that because penicillin is an antibiotic. And antibiotics won't work anyhow. But even if antibiotics did work, the outer membrane would be a barrier. So basically, it's a double whammy. Now, nutrients do have to pass through porins. You've seen that before with maltose. There have to be pores in the cell wall, or otherwise nothing gets through. Then the cell would starve. So there are ways to get through.